Hey, this is attorney Elizabeth Potts-Weinstein. Today we're going to talk about whether your LLC should be member managed or manager managed. So when you form a LLC or limited liability company, at that time in some states, including California, you have to select whether you want your LLC to be managed by a member or all the members, or a manager or multiple managers. So what do those things mean? Members are the owners. That's what that means. So if you want your LLC to just be managed, to be run on a daily basis and all the decisions be made by all the owners, you can select that. If you want it to be run by a manager or multiple managers, those are people who don't have to be owners, or they can be, but the idea is that it's just one person or two or three people as opposed to everyone who owns the LLC. Now the default is that it's the members. The members are running the LLC on a regular basis, but you can elect to have it be managers. In some states, you actually have to pick at the beginning, and in some places, you can just make that election. So generally speaking, for most of my clients, we have it be managed by the members because there's only one member, and that's fine. It's simple. It's the most straightforward thing. But there are some situations where that is not appropriate. First, is the owner not a human? Because humans are the only ones who can manage things. And if the owner of the LLC is another LLC, a corporation, or a trust, then you need a human being to manage the LLC. This can happen either because you have a holding LLC or corporation that owns the various LLCs underneath it, or it can happen because the owner is a revocable living trust as part of your estate plan, for example. In those cases, you need your business, even if there's just one owner, and you think of yourself as being the owner because you're the ultimate owner, but you're not the direct owner personally of the LLC. So you need to be the manager. The second situation is if there's just too many owners. So let's say there's 5 or 10 people who own this LLC, and it's still closely held. This is like a public company, but there's a lot of people, and you don't want all 10 people to be running the LLC on a daily basis. That's just logistically bizarre. So you pick 1 or 2 people who run the business on a daily basis. The third situation is if 1 or more of the owners are just passive. So like they're investors. So let's say you have a business where you're the only person who really runs a business, but you have a relative who gave you a bunch of money to start this business up, and they're part owner of the business too, but they're not involved in the business on a daily basis. So in that case, it may make sense for them, while they're an owner of the business, they're one of the members, they're not the manager. So in that case, you're the manager of the business and you make all the day-to-day decisions, instead of having all the owners, including the passive investor. Now, a manager can be anyone. So it can be one of the owners, which is the usual situation, or one of the ultimate owners, the owner of the owner. But it can also be an outsider. So sometimes what happens is that there's a business that normally is run by the owner, but the owner is ill or the owner dies, and someone else needs to take over the day-to-day management of the business. And so they hire a manager to run the business. That can work especially well if the business is the kind of thing that's not a personality-driven business. It's some kind of passive revenue, or they sell products, and someone else could really take that business over. And also in some cases, you can just hire someone to run the business on a daily basis. Maybe you want to focus on what you do best and you want someone else to be running things. And so you have 1 or 2 managers, maybe you're also one of the managers too, but you have someone who is authorized to run the business on a daily basis and do filings and all those kinds of things. Now, this person has a lot of control over your business, so you want to make sure you really trust them. I would not assign that role to just anyone or some random person that you hire you've never had any relationship with before, because this is a very significant position of trust. Now, in your operating agreement for your LLC, you can define what the manager can or can't do. So it doesn't have to be that the manager can do everything. It could be that you say the manager can run the business on a daily basis, like day-to-day decisions. But if the business is going to be sold, or if you're going to take on debt more than a certain amount, or big stuff, then the owners have to be consulted. That's a good way to split up that power, to split up that authority, so the manager can keep things going on a daily basis, but they're not going to do something terrible with the business without the owners being on board. Now, if you made the wrong election, this can be fixed. You can amend your original documents to change that election. I'm going to do a video on this in the future on making an amendment to your original documents in California. I'll do a tutorial on it with the new computer system. But all you're doing is amending your original documents. It is not a super complicated filing, but that's how you would change from being manager to member or member to manager manage. Again, this is attorney Elizabeth Potts Weinstein. If you found this video helpful, hit the thumbs up, subscribe for more videos like this. Leave a comment below if you have a question about what we talked about today. If you click on the link to Patreon below, you can learn how to better support the channel and get even more contact with me. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.